Welcome to our radio broadcast about inspiration. This is Vicky and Amber here. We are joined by two special guests, Kevin Fegan and Michelle Gent. We have short interviews with these successful writers who have diverse careers in writing, which is a passion of mine and Amber's.
We decided to find out what inspires different writers to create their works. Our first interview is with Kevin Fegan, who is a talented and experienced playwright and poet. We go over the topic of what inspires him to keep on writing and where his inspiration roots from.
So, thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
So our project is about inspiration, and we decided to do it on authors because we're both aspiring writers.
There was never anything in my family to do with writing. In fact, we never had any books at home. I don't remember there being any books at home at all. So it is quite hard to pin down where it comes from, but I can date it to one particular day, which was a bit like an epiphany when I look back on it. I just took a piece of pen and paper and I wrote what was in my head. As soon as I'd written it, this is the thing that's missing in my life that I really need.
Do you have any tips for people who are writing plays and poetry?
I'd say jump into the page at the point that you find most exciting. So whatever's in the forefront of your mind, start with that. Don't worry too much about whether that's the beginning, the middle or the end. Just have a go at that, because that's what's firing you, what's in your mind, and you know what's there, and what you feel passionate about will drive you to complete the rest. So start with that bit and see where it takes you, I think.
There's some interesting points from Kevin. I can honestly say I'm inspired by hearing his story.
I can definitely agree with you on that one, Vicky. Now we have an interview with Michelle Gent, an author and publisher, with this story of how she got into the writing and publishing career and what inspired her to do this.
So thank you for coming to do this interview.
Welcome.
So our first question is, what inspired you to be a writer?
It's a bit controversial, but what actually made me sit down and write a story was that I was reading a series of books, not any particular series from one writer, but they were dire, they were just awful, they were terribly written, no story, they were very formulaic, and I thought, I can do better than this, and so I did, in my opinion, of course.
Do you find your books inspire other people, or have they told you they inspire them?
Well, as a writer, as an artist, I find that I'm very critical of my own work, and a lot of artists are. I don't think that they're good enough. I think I could do better, but people have told me that the stories inspire them to write, they inspire them to read more and look deeper into other stories as well. So yes, it does inspire, but I'm still not convinced.
Do you have any tips for younger writers?
Yes, the main one is read. If you don't read, you can't write. It is what it is. Stephen King's book on writing gives an awful lot of tips, but don't stop writing. That's the big one. And if someone tells you it's bad, then work to improve it. For every no that you get, there's a yes as well. Someone will like it somewhere. It will hit someone's sensitivities, if you like, and they will like it, even if you don't. So don't stop.
It's good advice. Another interesting story, although very diverse compared to Kevin's.
Yes, it's inspiring to hear about their backgrounds and how they got into writing, especially with Michelle being a local in the area.
I certainly hope these interviews inspire other people as much as they have with us. I don't see how they couldn't be.
After listening to these writers talk, we decided to do some research into other authors, and we came across some interesting stories.
Yes, we did. I wasn't aware that Mary Shelley based Frankenstein off a nightmare she had while staying with friends.
And how the Bronte sisters, Charlotte, Emily and Anna, originally published their poems and novels under male names. Also how the deaths of their mother and then their two older sisters influenced their writing, along with the relative isolation which they were raised.
And Stephen King spent a weekend at the haunted Stanley Hotel, which is where he got the inspiration for The Shining.
Maggie Stiefvater is an American writer of young adult fiction. whom is also talented as an artist and musician. She has linked these talents to her writing by recording a piece for every novel and animating the book trailers for each of her novels.
That's really interesting to hear. So she uses more than just her writing talent to create her work. I guess musicians are writers too, because they write songs that tell stories. Same with artists. I find that art inspires me when I'm writing about places, and I find a picture that helps me visualise it.
As a writer myself, I write songs, which hold their own story and emotions that I link to the characters and situations in my writing. Listening to other pieces has also inspired me to write in different styles.
Well, that's all we have time for, guys. I hope you enjoyed our broadcast.
See you next time!